we're going to get started right now. Rachel, without further ado, we can't wait for you to begin. Okay, go right ahead, Rachel. Tell us about yourself. Go right ahead. You have 10 minutes. Go.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Rachel. I'm in college right now in my sophomore year, and I'm actually also finishing college in 3 years. So if anybody's interested, I can answer any questions you have. And I'm actually applying to dental school this June and then finishing, my last year right after that. So here is my journey finishing high school in 3 years. So what I did is actually in 8th grade, I was offered 9th grade classes, US History, Algebra 1, Spanish 1, and Living Environment. And I took the Regents, and therefore when I came into high school as a 9th grader, I was really coming in as a sophomore already. So I was already ahead, as most people actually take these classes in the 8th grade, so most of them come in already ahead. And then in the summer after my 9th grade, I started studying for my SATs at Queller Prep, and I took music. Music was a requirement for me. What my guidance counselor told me was because I was in a Carl Sagan program at Forest Hills High School, so I had to take STEM and research, so I didn't have space in my schedule for an elective. So that's why I had to take music in the summer. It was also a lot easier in the summer. And then I took an English class at Windsor. So one of the things I actually want to point out here is that you guys could take English after 10th grade instead of after 9th grade. In fact, most people actually took it after 10th grade. The only reason why I did it after 9th grade is because in order to take college now, you have to be a junior. So for me to take English 2 in the summer and then come in taking English 3 for my 10th grade, as a sophomore, I was taking English 3. Technically now I'm a junior and I have basically double the time to do college now. So, but you can do either one. If you want to spend more time studying for the SATs that summer, you could take English, the following summer. And then a lot of people actually tell me like, you don't know trig yet, how are you studying for the SATs? So when I started Queller Prep in the summer, they taught me all of trig. So I don't think it's really necessary. I got a perfect score in math and I didn't know trig until I started studying at Queller. So, that's fine. That shouldn't really be too much of a concern. And then after that summer, I took my SATs in March. I got a 1500 my first time, so I didn't have to retake it. But if you have to retake it, there's time. You could take it again in August. And then I did applications that summer, and that was basically it. Okay, so my course load. So obviously 8th grade, I went through that already. And then freshman year, I took chemistry, geometry, English 1, Spanish 2, and then world history and STEM was just my Carl Sagan class I had to take. As you guys could see, from freshman to sophomore year, I went from English 1 to English 3. So English 2, I took that summer again. And then sophomore year, I was able to start with College Now classes. I took 4 College Now classes, 2 sophomore year, 2 junior year. And therefore I came in with more credits if that's something you guys are interested in. And then junior year, I took AP Stat, AP Chem, AP Psych, and English 4. One of my friends who actually finished high school also in 3 years with me, she took English 3 and English 4 junior year together. If you want to like save money in the summer or whatever, you can do that too. She told me it was a little bit harder, but you can do it if you want your summers off. It's possible. Yeah. Okay, so some common concerns people always tell me. I could take more AP senior year and save time like that. You could do that. The only thing with APs, it's a little bit risky if you're relying on that, because my brother, he actually just started a private school and they didn't accept all of his APs. Also, you have to make sure you get at least a 4 or 5 for it to be accepted. So obviously it's better to start college earlier and actually take credits that you know are going to be counted versus relying on APs, especially since you're pretty limited with the AP classes you could take. You could take psych, which is good. But other than that, they usually offer mainly just chem APs. And not chem, science. And science APs, you have to retake in college either way, because when you're applying to graduate school, it doesn't really look good that you accepted in a science AP credit. So I actually passed my chem AP and I still had to retake it in college. So so AP shouldn't be something, a deciding factor, what I mean. People also tell me, isn't it hard? You know, it really depends on the person. I didn't find it hard. As you guys could see from my course load over here, I'm taking the same amount of the same amount of classes as anybody else did. So
everyone take a good look. Can you zoom 8th grade, 9th grade freshman? And Rachel, I just checked the chat really fast. Okay. Everyone take a look at her classes, okay? So that you see it. She actually put this together quickly. If you could zoom or just delete course. So I know that you were rushing. So I really appreciate it. Just check the chat really fast. Okay, so I think we're good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so next one. So yeah, as you guys could see from my course load, I took the same amount of classes as everyone else. So to me, I didn't find it challenging. The only semi-challenging thing is that you're studying for your SATs a little bit earlier, but you know, it's ultimately up to you. I feel like it's worth it. So studying for SATs earlier wasn't a big issue for me. And then finally, not finally, actually, next one, no graduation with friends. So people actually always told me this. When I told a lot of my friends, come graduate early with me, they told me, yeah, but I want to graduate with my friends. You just so you know, you guys do still have access to prom and all of that. They still give you that senior barbecue. As for graduating with friends, I came in to sophomore year as a junior, so all of my friends were juniors already. So you know, those were my graduating friends. At Forest Hills High School, I'm not sure about the other high schools, but at Forest Hills, all of the grades are kind of mixed. So you have freshmen and seniors in one class. So I don't think that makes it that is really that really makes a
I'm
difference.
so happy I did my hair. Thank you so much.
And then
Good.
finally, not ready. So not ready is a lot of people also say like I'm not ready yet. I feel like when it comes to not being ready, it really depends on if you're coming in, like most people come in thinking, okay, I'm gonna graduate in 4 years, I'm gonna graduate my 4th year of high school. I came in knowing I'm doing it in 3 years, so I was ready. So if any of you are coming into high school and you're
Good.
thinking about 3 or 4 years and
It's
you know
okay. It's fine. No, it's good because I did pictures. I can't. I didn't want to have like bad hair for my photos. Good.
Francis.
Um. Okay, Rachel, are we good? Or you're? Oh, sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so and then finally my guidance counselor doesn't let. I know a lot of people tell me, actually one of my students actually told me that recently my guidance counselor isn't letting. I feel like naturally guidance counselors are against it just because it's formality. You know, they want you to finish in 4 years, but just be adamant about it. Bring your parents in, and you know, ultimately, if you have all the requirements, you should be able to do it. And ultimate pros, you start earlier, you finish earlier, you start college earlier, you finish college earlier, you start your career earlier, you save time, just you know, it's good for yourself. Being the youngest in the class, you know, people are always like, wow, you're only 16, like that's pretty cool. And then one thing, actually, my sister actually told me to mention this. If any of you guys are going into like a medical field, like medical school, a lot of people take gap years to do research, which my sister is doing because
So Rachel, we're gonna wind down, okay? Because Rebecca's gonna go next, okay?
yeah, it's my last point. So if any of you like have to take that gap year, it kind of like balances out finishing early and then that gap year. So that's just something I wanted to point out. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please type in the chat. Everyone say thank you.
No problem.
All right, Rebecca, can you go on Spotlight, please?
Okay, sure. So I'll start sharing.
Yay, thank you so much, Rebecca. We're ready. Go ahead. And then David, you'll go next, okay? Rebecca, you have 10 minutes. Go.
Yes, just give me 1 second to arrange the screen properly. Okay, so hi, my name is Rebecca. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, Francis, for inviting me to speak. So I just want to start out by saying a little bit of background about myself. So I attend Forest Hills High School right now. I'm in the Carl Sagan program. I'm graduating one full year early with an advanced Regents diploma. I'm a STEM enthusiast. I love science, so I'm going to be going into the pre-med track. I applied to several joint programs with, of course, Francis's help. So I did like a little Google Slides about how like my journey in graduating early. So the first thing I did was obviously create a pros and cons list. It's like my go-to when making decisions. So for the pros, you get a head start on college, obviously. If you're interested in medicine, it obviously helps because the journey is quite lengthy. So for me personally, I wasn't really academically challenged in high school. So that was another reason I graduated a year early. The experience will also help you mature since you are ahead of everybody. It'll help you with time management and multitasking and decision making, since this is like a quite difficult decision to make. It'll also help you with your communicational skills because you will be, speaking with different people, advising with people, and you have to also make sure that people want to help you. So that's definitely a skill that you will obtain. So in terms of self-esteem, you definitely get a boost of self-esteem because, it's a great accomplishment, and it's kind of cool that you're ahead of everybody, as Rachel mentioned. So in terms of cons, there are a few. So college coursework is quite rigorous and some may not be ready for it. College requires both a mental and emotional maturity. So, and another thing is that you miss out on graduating with friends and peers your age, but you can always, you make friends with seniors and you graduate with them. So that shouldn't be really a problem. And the process can be like it's obviously complex and a little overwhelming sometimes. So this is how I personally graduated high school. So obviously, as I mentioned, I created a pros and cons list. I also secured permission from the principal. So the principal has to, make sure that you're qualified to graduate. So first, you should draft an email and send it to him stating, why you think you're ready. Most likely he won't respond because he does have quite a lot of students emailing him daily. So I'd suggest like a parent or guardian to email him. In my case, it also didn't work. So we got the guidance counselor involved. So in terms of the guidance counselor, I'd recommend getting close with them, making sure that they know who you are, because they do help you quite a lot and assist you with the whole process. They, customize a schedule for you to fit all your class requirements, since it is quite a unique schedule. Then I took English 3 at Windsor between my summer of 10th and my last year. So I attached the phone number if anybody wants to take a photo or contact them. I also studied for the SAT and ACT while taking the English 3 class. And then during that summer, I started drafting my Common App essay, as it is an essay that most colleges require, with the help of Queller Prep. So at the next slide, I wrote down my coursework. So in 8th grade, I attended Halsey in Queens here. So I also took 4 Regencies: biology, US history, algebra 1, and Spanish 1. So I'd recommend, scoring above an 85, I think would be great. So in 9th grade, I already started with taking a few 10th grade classes. As you can see on the bottom, the STEM fundamentals, anatomy and physiology, and human diseases are all part of the Carl Sagan curriculum. So these are all electives. So I took honors class throughout high school. And then during the summer, as I mentioned, between 10th and 11th, I did English 3 with Windsor. I took SAT prep and college essay drafting. I would recommend starting that as soon as possible because it can be a little bit overwhelming. I also wanted to mention like College Now classes. I think those are definitely something that you have to take advantage of because you get the credits instead of like taking a test such as the AP test. You can take 1 per semester, so you can take 2 in a year. And you're guaranteed the credits basically. And it just varies. Some will give you homework to do, but it's pretty light, so it's not too challenging. If you have any questions about that, you could just put it in the chat and I'll explain it further. Welcome to. And I also attached my resume. So I obviously like redacted my address, but you should definitely put that into your resume because, you know, colleges can send you different files and sorry, somebody came in my room. Give me a second. So yeah, so attach the address obviously because, you know, colleges will send you different like acceptance letters and different pamphlets if you need it. So whenever you sign up for Frances's college help, she will, you know, sit you up with somebody who is experienced in writing resumes.
Go ahead.
So yes, no, it was definitely a huge help. They will help you draft it and they will know what specific words to add in. So you should definitely include, you know, any honorable mentions or awards that you got like took or coming out of high school with basically. So I also attached my work experience since I am going to be going into the pre-med. I, you know, shadowed an intern and I did internships, excuse me, at different medical offices and dental offices. I also was a gymnast for quite a few years and then I became a coach there. I also created my own club and was the president of that, which I highly recommend because it can definitely boost your application and, you know, do some, you know, create a club about something you're definitely passionate about and that you want, like you would prefer to speak about. Also, like, you know, volunteering is good. I volunteered at the Habata Forest Hills. I also participated in different other clubs just as a member. And yeah, you can also include a few skills that you have or languages that you're fluent in, which helps out. So the final slide is obviously asking yourself the following questions to know if this is the right journey for you. I know that I personally asked myself these questions as well. So the first question being is what career you want to pursue, because that definitely does, you know, impact what college or university you will attend because, you know, some universities are better for pre-med, some are better for business. So you definitely have to understand what you want to specialize in. Also, do you seek more rigorous coursework because that is what college will offer you? And what is your reasoning for graduating early? I think you need to definitely do it, you know, obviously for yourself, and to understand if it's really for you and if you're, you know, emotionally and mentally ready to take on this journey. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please do leave them in the chat.
Thank you so much. Awesome. I love it. David, you're up next. Thank you so much. Everyone say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just going to get ready.
No problem. It was my pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does everybody see and hear me clearly? Yeah, no. Do you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hi everybody. My name is David Yusupov. I am a freshman in St. John's University as a legal studies major. I'm considered second year because of the amount of APs and college now classes I took, which resulted in a full year of college saved. And if you guys read my bio, I'm going for law and I want to get into the 3+3 law program, but because
Can you make it larger? It's too small. Make the screen larger.
Is that good?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I want to get into the 3+3 law program because they saved the whole year of college through APs and college now. It's going to be 2 years of undergrad and 3 years of law school. So I'm currently 17 years old and I'm hoping to finish all of my higher education degrees by 21. So I hope to become a lawyer by 21. And I did this by one of the reasons that helped me accomplish this was because I graduated a year early. So I'm going to go over my coursework and I'm going to give you guys advice as to what I did and what I think you guys should and shouldn't do. So in 8th grade, my middle school offered a living environment and oh, by the way, I went to Francis Lewis High School. So my middle school offered living environment and Algebra 1 Regents, which I took. I got a good grade, and it offered it included as to the amount of science and math regents that are required and credits that are required. So as you can see here, as for the New York City Department of Education, you guys need to graduate with a minimum of 44 credits. Because I graduated a year early, I graduated with 45, which is the bare minimum, but it is very common with when you graduate early a year. And if I did decide to stay an extra year, I would have been taking more AP classes. And yeah, so for English, I took English 9, English 10, which is 9th grade, 10th grade. 11th grade and 12th grade English was taken in my third year. AP English Lang was one of the AP credits. I got a really good grade on the, on the AP exam, and that included all of my English courses that I had to take in St. John's. So most freshmen have to take a minimum of 3 required one-on-one classes. However, I don't have to take any of them, which offered me 9 college credits. Once again, not all colleges might accept it, and it might vary as to what grade you got. For social studies, I took AP World. I also got a good grade on the exam, as in addition to AP US History. Again, I received college credit for both of them. And I took AP US and Government and Economics, which is a 1-year course in my third year as well. So global history, US history, government economics is required by New York State Department of Education. For math, I took geometry in 9th grade. I took trigonometry in 10th grade. So I knew that I didn't want to be a science major, and I wasn't planning on going into the medical field. So I did not take physics, nor did I take calculus, even though I was eligible to take them in 11th grade, which was my third year. However, I spent more time taking college now classes. So yeah, so world languages required. I took that. During COVID, they waived the Regents exams. Physical education is required to take every year. In addition to health, art or music, and you need 3 elective credits. So 44 total. Physical. What else are we gonna go over? So I received an advanced Regents diploma, which is the highest tier diploma, because I took a. So here it says students must achieve a score of a 65 or higher on minimum of 9 exams. So here are the exams if you guys want to take a note. And Regents exams are only offered if you take the course. So here are some tips I want to go over with you. Students who are interested in graduating early, a year early, should speak with their guidance counselors as soon as possible. And as Rachel mentioned earlier, many guidance counselors will say, no, you can't do that, or we don't recommend doing that by default. And if they don't let you, you should get your parents involved, because I'm not gonna lie to you, they are scared of your parents. And if you are set on a goal, you should be able to accomplish it without any interference. So because I didn't, as mentioned earlier, because I didn't have a senior year, I could have took more college credits and more AP classes, which could have resulted in more college credit. However, I didn't really see the point, because I graduated with so many college credits already. But also, most college nows are only offered in junior and senior year. However, in Francis Lewis, my guidance counselor let me take college now starting sophomore year, because I was considered a junior, and in my junior year, which was my third year. And schools may require you to maintain a certain GPA to graduate early. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go back to college applications. So I started studying for my SAT in the summer, I believe, of my transition between 9th to 10th grade with Queller. I received a reasonable score, and throughout my college application process, I also used Queller, a tutor from Queller, who helped me apply to many colleges, and They helped me with my college essay, with any supplemental essays, and I'm very happy with my results, clearly. Um, so that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions? Put me in the chat.
Okay, Michael, can you go next? You're all
No.
set. Okay, Michael, do you hear me? And then can you just type in the chat? I'm looking for Naya, but it might be under a different name. So just type in the chat if you're in, okay? Who is also at Bayside High School right now. Bye. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Michael, we're going to switch over to you.
Thank you, David. That was a nice presentation. I went to, sorry, my name is Michael. I went to Bayside High School for 3 years. I graduated 1 year early. You know, a lot of the students at Queller, I never went to Queller. I'm here more of a, think of it as a, just kind of an extra guest speaker. Just wanted to do a favor for Frances because she's been very nice to me and, you know, very, you know, kind of supportive of my graduation. Anyways, I think I'll cover more of the motivational aspect when it comes to graduating early. My journey was a little unique. It was very, very interesting. David and I actually, I'm gonna put you on the spot. We went to middle school together. I knew him since daycare actually. So we grew up together, but we went to different high schools. And if you ask him, he knows I was never really a good student. I was always kind of, you could say, slacking off. And I was not really getting very good grades in middle school. I would always be the troublemaker. I was just not, you know, an ideal student that you would imagine would graduate early. And when high school came around, I was the same way. I was, you know, getting average grades, 70s at most and 80 on either a test. I would fail a lot. And that was during my first 2 years of high school. I was not doing too well. But I managed to stay average. But then when the last half of sophomore year came around and quarantine started and we all had the pandemic where we had to stay home and do school remotely. I was finishing my sophomore year from online, which I thought would be easier. If anything, it was actually a lot harder because when you're staying at home a lot, you decide to actually, you know, you have a lot more time and you feel kind of bad for rushing your assignments. So you decide to actually give it a lot of time. So I was working a lot harder on my assignments. And then when junior year came around, I was expecting to graduate in 4 years. But when junior year came around, I got an email from my guidance counselor, who's surprisingly actually, as opposed to your guys' counselor, she was actually very supportive. She wanted me to graduate early. I think that's how it is in Bayside. I don't know about any other high schools, but in Bayside, the guidance counselors, they advocated that they want you to graduate early. And it's, you know, I'm not trying to put any other high schools down, but Bayside, it definitely, if you want to graduate early, I would recommend that school ideally, or the school that David went to. But either way, I got an email from my guidance counselor offering me to graduate early. And I first had to kind of consult my family because their opinion matters a lot to me. So I called up a close friend of mine and I asked him, I told him what was going on. I told him my current circumstance. And I said, I asked him if I should do it. Should I graduate early? Should I do it all remotely and just graduate from my own home 1 year early? And then he asked me, why are you still on the phone with me? Of course you should, because you'll save an entire year. And I could say to this day, as hard as college is, I do not regret it. I love the fact that I did it. And I love that, you know, every single blood, sweat, and tear that it took to pick up my grades in that final year of high school, it was so worth it. It was a big struggle because I had to go from getting 70s and 80s to getting 90s and 100s because my grades were not that good in the first 2 years. My guidance counselor said in order to graduate early, you have to pass every single one of your classes. And you have to pass with flying colors as well. So I went from the yellows to the blues straight up. People who have pupil paths, they know that term. And it was very motivating. It was very hardworking. I'm a little, I had to bring out that perfectionist side of me. I was doing everything from my own home. I went from high school to college from this very room, my bedroom, and it felt, it was one of the craziest experiences because, growing up, I was never good in school. And then that little enlightenment in my own head to pick up my grades. And when I finally knew I could do it, I was going from doing homework 30 minutes a day. I was doing homework 8 hours a day now. And I would take one little assignment so intensely and I would do everything perfectly. I would just try my best to take everything to the top. And there were times when I wanted to give up. There was times when I felt very discouraged. There was actually a moment I actually wanted to drop out. There was a moment I was feeling very, very nervous and I thought I was going to fail and I actually wanted to quit high school entirely. So I'm just saying that's kind of a personal topic. I'm just saying that for any kids that feel discouraged and feel that they cannot do it, it's possible. If I was able to do it, anybody else could do it because I went through the worst possible thoughts you could possibly go through when you're having that kind of journey, but I still was able to overcome it. And thank God for my family, my friends for helping me. Although I'm ahead of most of my friends now, they still supported me no matter what. Pick friends that are not going to be jealous of you and are still going to support you. And if they say no, graduate at the same time as me, then you gotta have a talk with them, But either way, long story short, I don't know how much time I have left. I graduated with, you could say, the final year was full honors. I got my diploma. I felt very, very happy, and the celebration still lives on in my head because it was one of the craziest journeys I could ever take because I never would have imagined I would do it. I was a very average kid growing up, very average grades. And a lot of my friends can confirm that. But the fact that I was, I was able to get myself to do that, that means that anybody else could do it because, as Francis, told me earlier, I'm like, in my bio, you could say I'm the living example of a mission possible. That if you set your mind to something, you could do it 100%. It doesn't matter how low you are. If you set your mind to it, you could do it. I set my mind to it and I did it. And there's no cons. People have pros and cons. There's no cons. For me, there was no cons. Okay. I did it remotely, so I didn't go to prom. But either way, if you do it in person, you can go to prom. You can still get that, senior barbecue that you want. Everything. I personally did not care for that. I just wanted to get out of high school as soon as possible. I know probably you guys want to hear about, the classes I took, all that boring stuff, but if I can remember, I didn't have to surprisingly.
Actually, we do want to hear about the journey because you're actually, because you are not our typical Queller students. I think it's really inspiring for you to share that you started with a 70, and if you could actually elaborate on what really made you go up, up, up. You ended with 100. So can you please continue?
I'm gonna be honest. I cannot give myself all the credit. I got very lucky. Because I think I was in the exact right time of high school because my final year was from my own home. Therefore, a lot of the time I had just more time to do things. So I didn't feel as rushed, Sometimes you would do classes in person. You would have to do a whole essay in one class period. Me, it wasn't like that. We could do classwork for the entire day. So the beauty of doing it at home is you just have more time and you can make it more personal. So that was one of the beauties. Unfortunately, school's back in person. So I'm not even gonna pretend like I could relate to you, but either way, it's still possible. Even if I was in person, I still would have been able to do it because you just put your mind to something, you could do it. But luckily, the regencies they all got waived, like you didn't have to take them at the final year. And everything before that, I got kind of like, there was a couple regencies that I passed, some that I failed that I had to retake. But you could say I was like at the bare minimum, but just enough to graduate. I graduated with, I think, 44, maybe 45 credits, which if you graduate early is kind of common. But in my opinion, it's all about, once again, there's no cons. You just need to understand that you could save an entire year of your life. And if I hadn't done that, I would have been in high school right now. And now I'm already in my second semester, technically my third semester, because I did a winter course. So I'm already in my third semester of college.
So everyone who's in this webinar, I just want you to observe this. Not only are these racers going through high school in 3 years, they're going through college in 3 years. They're taking summer classes, they're in accelerated programs. I want you to really pay attention, everyone, and feel free to type in the chat if this is helpful, if you're learning, what the feedback is. Do you mind, Michael, just give us like a closing remark, and then I'm going to ask David and Rebecca to do the same.
Yes, great. I forgot to tell you guys, I did do a College Now course because I was very nervous that I wouldn't get into the college I wanted to get in. I wanted to get into Queens College, but I was very worried that my low grades would not let me get there. So I had this insecurity that I wouldn't do it, but because I picked my grades up and I did a College Now course from that college, from my own home during my junior year spring semester, I did one course. I did the College Now. I got all 4 credits, and I thankfully got into my dream college. I got into Queens College, and that college has been going back generations in my family. Everybody goes there in my family, so it feels good to carry on the tradition of education. But I can proudly say I'm the first in my family to graduate high school at 16 years old, start college at 16. And I'm very happy that I think David's older than me, but I'm very happy that me and David, long-term friends, and we reunite knowing that we both took those steps in our lives, knowing that, we love our friends, but we're ahead of all of them right now. And it feels great. And that's a feeling all other students should share. And that's it for my presentation.
Oh, Michael, everyone, let's give Michael a big thank you in the chat, because I really forced him to do this. He gave me a hard time. Okay. So Michael, see, it wasn't so bad. Okay. Everyone, thank you. Please thank them, because he really, really, really was forced by you know who. All right. I just want to say thank you so much. I want to take a moment. David, can you give some closing remarks? And then Rebecca, can you give some closing remarks? I think let's start with Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, give us some closing remarks.
Okay, sure. So I just want to sum up basically what I said. And like personally, I think it was an excellent idea to graduate a year early. I think it was definitely a right decision, but I think it also takes a lot of people to do this. I think you need to like collect a good team, a good advice, like a good guidance counselor who supports you, somebody who will, guide you through this whole college prep process, because it is quite, confusing. I think that, family and friend support is definitely important, but you have to know, like, you have to, ask yourself if you're definitely ready for this, because you have to just be self-aware of what, you can take on and what you're truly capable of. I think, sky's the limit. You have to, reach your full potential. And you definitely, like, work ethic is a big thing in this whole process. You definitely, improve your work ethic, and you have to put your best foot forward. So I hope that answers everybody's questions.
Thank you so much. And David, can you do the same? Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you.
I want to
and
thank.
I just want to remind all of you, please type thank you, and you can write a cute little thank you to each guest speaker in the chat. Go ahead, David.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listening about our experiences. I'm not gonna lie, it was not a very easy process, but in the end, I'm very happy with the result, and that I accomplished my goal, that I'm ahead of everybody, most people my age, and I think that I hope that we inspire you to do the same, and good luck to everybody on your journeys.
David, thank you so much. And everyone, I just want to remind you that this is a big moment. I want everyone to pay attention. Pay attention. Everyone knows me, and I have a couple of things going on at once now. Listen to me. Listen to me. And you don't go to no matter what you do, no matter what school you go to. Okay. David, can you just kind of reiterate what I'm saying right now in that thread? Because a lot of families think it's like stay or die, or, you have to go to specialized. So just remind them, you don't have to go to one of these schools. If it doesn't happen, you know what? Be the big fish. Okay, David, help me just close up. Okay.
I'm sorry, you were cutting off most of the time. Could you repeat it?
You do not
think
have
anyone
to
any of us
go.
heard it.
You do not have to go to Stuyvesant or specialized high school. Be the big fish. Does everyone hear me? Be the big fish.
Um, honestly, I'm very, very happy that I didn't go to a specialized high school like LaGuardia, like Stuyvesant, because if I did, I wouldn't be where I am today, where I am right now. Because I feel like these specialized high schools, yes, they look good for college applications, for for future references, for resumes and things like that. But in reality, I believe as a person who graduated early, I accomplished something more than just attending a just the label, the title. I attended a specialized high school, and um, honestly, schools like Forest Hills, Francis Lewis, Bayside, and things like that are schools like that are much, I believe, are much more. There are much more wiggle room than there is in the specialized high school.
Rebecca, do you want to just add quickly, just because, at Queller Prep, we have so many families who are, on the mindset that it must be a specialized high school. Can you please add, because I want, the families, this is a very intentional webinar. We're having this webinar to show you that you can be a star student and get into a stellar program from a public high school in New York City. Rebecca, do you mind closing that also?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. I think that, specialized high schools are great, don't get me wrong, but there are certain advantages to going to, just a regular public school. You, like you mentioned, have a little bit more wiggle room to graduate a year early. And, most people, when I was going through this journey, told me, Rebecca, just don't do this. It's too much work. You won't get into a lot of colleges because you're lacking, APs or research or more extracurriculars. People who are a year older have more of an advantage. But I applied to several programs and I got into, a Delphi NYU's dental program. I got into NYTDO program. I got into several other colleges, and I don't really see that statement to be true. I think that whatever you put your
And
mind.
by the way, I don't either. And I run the whole company. I don't see a difference. That if anything, it's more of an advantage because you have this credential on the resume, right? Rebecca, you put this on your resume that you're finishing early.
No, absolutely. You definitely do get an advantage. And because I want to pursue a pre-med track, it definitely gives me, I can fit, because the programs I got into are 7 years, I'm becoming, a dentist or doctor 2 years earlier than everybody else, which definitely does.
I want to take a moment to thank and I hope you guys hear me okay. I want to take a moment to sincerely say thank you. Thank you so much. If you're able to, please also families, something I love to do, if we could, I'm going to ask for you guys to go off mute in a moment and say thank you to our wonderful presenters. So we're going to do that. I also want to remind you, if you're able to put in a nice Google review for Queller, we love that stuff. So don't forget, if you could, share the love, because we're all living virtually lately. And I hope that you loved this very intentional webinar where we are, really showing you a pathway where you can succeed so well that you can finish high school in 36 months, not 48. Okay. So please keep that in mind. Everyone, I want to do something really, really cute. It's in the chat. It's one of the participant things that we're doing. So I want to take a moment and I want to share this amazing opportunity with you, to sincerely give everyone a big, huge, gigantic thank you for your help, for your time, for your efforts. And I'm going to, really take a moment to say to my guest speakers, thank you so much. So everyone, please hit I want everyone to see that I'm going to unmute them. Ready? So everyone go unmute yourselves. Okay. And we're going to unmute, and we're going to say thank you on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
to
much.
Rebecca. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, David. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you to all of our guest speakers today. And I'm really happy that we had this amazing opportunity. So I want to say thank you to everyone. Don't just remember that this is your opportunity to really be a star in your own right. This is your chance. Okay. So don't forget.